Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's able to join us and access the event, and that you're seeing a lovely slide of Geraint's face. We're going to get to it very quickly. We've penciled in half an hour for this, but both of us are very happy to stay on the webinar as long as it takes to answer all your questions. So I'll hand it over to Geraint pretty quickly, but as normal, this will be recorded, so you can refer back to it. We'll be sharing out some resources afterwards as well via email. And yeah, we'll do about 10 to 15 minutes of just going through the process, and then open it up to questions. There's a dedicated questions tab, and you can also just say hi and comment in the chat as well. So with all that being said, Geraint, I'll just hand it straight over to you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Eamon. Yeah, hi, everybody. So I'm really excited about this opportunity, and that's why I've been really keen to get in front of as many people as I possibly can to talk about it. No one ever gives social care anything for free. So when I see that there is an opportunity to be had, I just want to broadcast it to make sure as many people as possible hear this. And I will ask anybody that does hear this and finds it really interesting to share it with your networks as well. So I'll give you a bit of introduction about what the grant is all about. I'll deep dive, so I will go into the detail. So you should be able to walk away from this session knowing exactly what this is, how much you can claim, what for. I will go through the application. It's not scary. In fact, it's one of the best applications I've seen from a grant. So, there should be no reason not to do this. But importantly, I am here to answer any questions, and we'll make sure that there is time for that. So we're going to go straight on in. This grant is for up to £600,000, and it's available for any tried and tested technology that's new to you. I'm going to come back to that tried and tested point in a moment, but here's the three things it will fully pay for. The first year's licensing for any software. So if you procure any technologies that have a recurring monthly or annual cost, it's going to cover that for the first year. Year two, you're encumbered with that cost, but I promise you the products you'll be procuring through this grant will be so valuable to your organization that by year two, the price will be very palatable. The second thing it covers, which is incredibly rare, is professional services. So yes, not only are you able to procure a piece of technology, you're also going to be able to spend money on training, project management, even bringing consultants in to support and help with that rollout. And the third one, again, quite spectacularly, they will also cover hardware on connectivity costs. So if you're thinking of using tablet technology, mobile technology, sensors, all that hardware is going to be covered, including connectivity. So if you have black spots in any of your homes or anything like that, you can put Wi-Fi booster boxes in. It might even go so far as to, mesh networks and mini networks you could put around different buildings. So it's really exciting that it covers these things. Now, let me go back to what I just said about that tried and tested technology. This is an important point. Sorry, I'm still back on that last slide. So on this tried and tested point, it's a product that is proven to have worked. Now, that's actually a big one, because what it means is you can't claim this money to build your own app. You can't claim this money to use Microsoft Power BI to generate amazing data visualization, because that is building a product. It's not an off-the-shelf proven solution. So anybody who's thinking of using this to do workflows in SharePoint or anything like that, we can't use the product, the money for it. Hope that makes sense. Moving on. Okay, who can claim this grant? All social care companies, regardless of size, including charities. Charitable status makes no difference. You're welcome to apply for this grant. Sadly, it's only within England. So the caveat here is you must be registered with the CQC. So bye-bye GP surgeries, bye-bye NHSs, they're not allowed to use this. It's social care registered with CQC, and it's adult services, so no children's services are eligible. But it doesn't matter if you're a small domiciliary care company, if you are made up of multiple companies, it doesn't matter, you can apply for this grant. Now, the purpose of the grant, what does it have to satisfy to be eligible for the money? Here are the three different categories, and the solution you're looking to procure only has to satisfy one of these three. More than one? Beautiful. The first one, very broad. It increases safety or reduces risk in your care environment. The second one, a reduction in avoidable admissions to hospital, so a reduction in 999 calls. The third one, an increase in support for people living independently in their own home. So hi to everybody in domiciliary care and supported living. Those of you who are looking at the undercurrent of this, you're probably getting a feeling that this grant is there to try and help save the NHS. And that's true. It is trying to unburden the NHS a little bit from social care around safety. Notice what's missing in here. Nothing around quality. There's nothing in here around financials. You're not here to try and save or make money or save time. Importantly, also, nowhere in the bid is it talking about staff. If you're making it safer for staff or reducing risk for staff, they're not interested. This is all about the person that's being supported. Let's move on. Here's the deadline. Now, it looks scary and bold and big, and it is soon. We're talking about next Friday. But this is tranche 1. There will definitely be a second tranche, and I expect there will be a third. They've even suggested that going into the next tax year, 24-25, they will continue to do tranches. But I feel this is the most important one. The people managing the fund are looking at these submissions and bids from this tranche to understand, what sizes are people trying to claim, what technologies are being looked at, what size companies are all about this grant. And from that, it's going to inform how tranche 2 is going to be structured. So please, if at all possible, we need to try and get bids into this one. This is the only one that, hand on heart, I can say there's money in a pot and available for. Tranche 2 might not be as rosy as this one. It might be even better. We don't know. But that's why I would suggest we focus on this. Now, here's how we apply. Don't worry about that date because, like I've said before, it's an expression of interest at the moment. It's not a full application. The expression of interest form is incredibly simple to complete. It takes about an hour and a half. It's not asking for much complexity in what it's asking of you. It wants ballpark figures around cost and timeframes. It's not asking you even to say, what product are you buying? Just that you are looking to procure something like electronic rostering, for example. So that form will be available after this. We'll make sure that everybody has access to that form. Now, here's the requirements to bid. You can't bid on your own. This is a big one. 3 different entities have to be on your bid. First, of course, we need the care provider. So any of you who are inspired enough to take up the opportunity of this bid, of course, your name will be on that bid. But you need to find 2 people to do it with you. You have to engage your ICS, your ICB. Hopefully people know what I'm saying when I say that. Sadly, I don't often find ICSs very approachable, but you don't need to find your ICB. You need to find an ICB, and you can find more than one. You could pick all 42 of them if you wanted, but you need to find an ICB, contact them, say you're going for this grant. As long as they give you a green light or a thumbs up, you can put their names in here. But they don't actually have to do anything. Why has the grant stipulated that an ICS is required? Only to hold the purse strings. The only thing the ICS has to do on this bidding is manage the money so that you don't claim a load of money for offstring and then spend it on a car. That's their only role in this bid. The third one then is you need an evaluation partner. Now, let's spend a bit of time on that evaluation partner because this is quite new for a grant. The people managing the grant don't want you to just procure a piece of technology and use it. They want you to prove and share how good was it? How much did it reduce 999 calls? Did it increase safety in your home? They want you to quantify exactly how it met those goals and delivered benefit to your company. And you have to find an external third party to come in and do that evaluation with you. Now, don't worry, I'm Guide Innovation. We can do that with you. It's something we're really, really good at, and you're going to really enjoy the process actually, because it really shows the benefit realization and lessons learned for you back to you on the project. Moving on. So What could you use this for? Just to spark your imaginations. These are things that I've had success in bid writing on. So, of course, digital rostering. This satisfies certainly the first couple of the requirements. It's fantastic at uh, making things safer and reducing risk in your homes. And it can reduce 99 calls. Electronic medication systems, so EMR, if anyone's heard that term, is a no-brainer. Over medication, missed meds, these can result in admissions to hospital. So that's a fantastic one. Accidents and incidents, I mean, it's right there, isn't it, in risk and safety. Governance, risk and compliance systems. There's a number of these coming to market. There's some really, really good ones out there. That includes things like policy and procedure solutions. To get exciting, now we're talking about sensors, wearables, IoT. If you've ever explored the idea of, or wanted to explore the idea of using sensor technology to detect fall hazards, risk of falls, to spot when somebody's falling asleep in their armchair, to spot at night for sleep-ins and waking nights whether somebody is mobile around their room rather than in bed. These technologies could make a big difference, and that's just some of them. There's an awful lot more. I will let your imaginations go wild, but I've done a bid for Alexa voice activated assistants. This would work for pain management solutions. Somebody's looking at CCTV camera to try and make the premises because they've had big challenges with people breaking in. So yeah, there's a lot of options here. What can't you cover? Sadly, if you've just finished implementing one of these products, you can't claim back money you've spent previously. And you can't use it for digital care plan solutions. There is a separate grant available for that. And so this one's being very clear about Chinese walling that and going, look, you can't claim 2 grants for the same thing. So hopefully that will make sense. Let me pick on, I'm sat here with Soda, so it'd be wrong for me not to spend a bit of time on this one as an example. So you heard me talk about electronic rostering. This is very much a no-brainer for the grant. If you're not using a digital rostering product right now, this is the time to do it. So in a nutshell, a digital rostering system allows you to tactically deploy your staff across your site or sites in line with safe staffing levels. You will always know that you're within safe staffing levels. Additionally, you can ensure that there is never a shift where you don't have somebody first aid trained or restraints trained or meds trained. You can make sure there's a nurse on if you're in nursing care. You can ensure that there is a skill level in every single shift that makes you safe. So you definitely tick that first box around safety and risk reduction. And admissions to hospital, this probably is not a surprise to some of you, but a lot of people will have an escalation process written down around what happens if somebody does fall and hurt themselves and they're bleeding. If you don't have somebody first aid trained, you're probably ringing on call. If on call doesn't answer, you're probably ringing 999. That's probably your escalation process. So rostering absolutely solves this kind of stuff. So I would definitely encourage bids for things like EMR, digital rostering, and the things I put on the previous slide. Moving on. Okay, this is my last slide. So we will share this slide deck where you've got a link there that will take you to all the key documents, details of the proposal, of the grant, sorry, frequently asked questions, and a form that you need to fill in, that nice form that I said isn't too scary. But let me just quickly summarize that form for you. It needs to know who's your ICB, who's your evaluation partner, and who are you. So you've got to fill that information in. Then the 3 most difficult questions are, what are you going to do? I'm going to buy a rostering system for this. How is that actually reducing risk? How is it satisfying one of those 3 things, please? And how are you going to evaluate it? Now, I would suggest you get your evaluation partner to complete that bit. And your evaluation partner should be able to complete a lot of this document for you. I would intend to complete most of this document for you because we appreciate the value of these products. But it is that simple. Friday is a deadline that's close, but absolutely achievable. I think we'll go into questions now, but I'll definitely make sure my contact details are shared with everybody if anybody wants to follow up afterwards. I tried to get this into 1/4 of an hour, and I did, so I'm quite pleased with myself. So Eamon, I don't know if you're coming in or if you're going to stop sharing that document, but on my own, I'm just going to keep going through the chat here. So some fantastic questions. Oh, thank you for the well done. That was really kind. Where can we get an evaluation partner from? So there's a number of different options. One, use me, I'm brilliant. But otherwise, if you're part of any network, regional network, there's a number of them across England. I know there is. If you're partnered with any universities, they can undertake this for you. I would encourage you to find an organization that knows social care. The danger of finding a research fellow or a university is that perhaps they don't know social care. There is not a list of published evaluation partners, I'm afraid. The grant didn't do that. And I'm quite pleased because, good ones out there might not have made the list. So I'm afraid you've got to look yourself. But, please consider using myself. Jackie Book, you've asked about the Digital Care Planning Fund. Yes. So this is completely separate to the funding available for digital care plans. If you've applied for that grant funding, there is nothing stopping you applying for this funding as well. They're completely separate. You can get them both. I talked about hardware. Some of you will have struggled to get the care planning grant to pay for your hardware, like the tablets. Sadly, you can't reach out to this grant to try and pay for your tablets for care planning. It is not match funding. Woohoo! This is where I see there is no risk to bidding. You're not expected to put forward 50-50 compared to what they're putting in. No match funding, over the moon with that. What is a risk? I think that the toughest bit about this bidding is going to be finding your ICS or ICB to put their name on this. Now, I've spoken to a few care companies this week, and what they've done is contacted an ICB and said, hi, we're going for this grant funding. Are you okay with that? And someone has emailed back saying, yeah, it sounds fantastic. Tick, that's enough. Get their email address and put it in the bid. They don't actually have to do anything. They haven't got to sign anything. They've got nothing to fill in. So I think that's going to be your biggest challenge, actually, is finding the ICB. I'm glad I've made a big thing seem less scary. Thank you. There's a lot of technology out there. I don't know where to start. Help. That's a good point. There is. If, for example, I've inspired you around rostering or sensors, there's a lot of providers in the market that do this. All of them are great in different ways. You've got to pick one that works for you. The good news is, at this point in the bid, you don't have to choose a supplier. You don't even have to attach quotes. You just need to have a feeling for what it's going to cost. I can help you with costs around most things. So I strongly suggest you wouldn't actually procure the product by next Friday. You don't even have to choose what it is. Get your bid in, relax, see if you get a green light to your bid. You'll hear back in about 4 or 5 weeks after you put your bid in. And if you get that green light, then you can certainly look around the market, and we can certainly help you with that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it, Eamon.
Because I think this is something that already came up to us. In terms of like the numbers that you submit, how detailed a cost proposal or idea of like what your proposed technology is going to cost do you need to present in this first phase?
That's a really good question. Make no mistake, I've said this process is easy. Get ready, there'll be a tougher one coming. If you get a green light, they're going to send you a more robust proposal to complete. But let's worry about that in a month's time. At the moment, it's asking for no breakdown in costs. None. Your your evaluation partner should be a big help in getting these costs together. So all you want to do is ask somebody like Eamon here, what does rostering cost? He'll give you a ballpark figure for the size of your organization. You put that ballpark figure down, you add in the cost of an evaluation partner, you add in the cost for any training, any devices, lump that into one number, and you put that on the form. It doesn't want a breakdown at all. It just asks how much will you spend this year and how much next year. That's the only split it asks for. But yeah, so it doesn't want that granular detail around it at all. And a point that I haven't made, actually, that I really should have, at least 20% of the money you put on the form has to be spent with the evaluation partner. The people that are managing this fund are very aware that social care isn't particularly great at implementing technology, and certainly not great at realizing the benefits off the back of it. So they're forcing care providers to ensure a chunk of money is ring fenced to properly evaluate and implement the product. And here's the words: at least 20%. I genuinely think that when they're checking your bid, they'll get a calculator out, and if it's exactly 20%, they're not going to be pleased with that. They're going to want to see that there's a big chunk. So yeah, just keep that in mind. They're forcing you to bid a chunk of money to make sure it's implemented correctly and evaluated afterwards. As the evaluation partner, would they help our organization apply? Any evaluation partner should really be holding your hand and doing this. For example, a guided innovation, we will complete the form for you and just highlight the bits that we need you to. For example, how many people do you support and things like that. I don't know if this is important, but although there's 3 entities on the bid, one entity has to be the named one, which is the one the fund will respond to via email with responses and clarification questions. It can be anyone. It can be the ICB, the evaluation partner, or the care provider. Another one that is in the small print that I think could be interesting to some people: if you're piloting a product already, so let's imagine you've bought a rostering product and you've got it in perhaps 1 or 2 of your homes at the moment, you can claim the grant for the further rollout. So if you're just piloting, trialing, having a go, you can actually claim for then the big bang wider rollout to the rest of your organization. You can't back claim for the pilot, but you can claim then for the full rollout, which is really good. Asking for my email address. Let me share that in chat. It's on the slide deck that'll be shared afterwards. There you go. So in chat's my email address there.
Okay, we've got up to sort of 8 minutes of our allotted 30. Like, there's no need for us to stay around if there aren't any more questions, but let's use this opportunity as just to shake out any final questions you have before we wrap up. But once this is over, that doesn't mean that like the conversation stops. As Geraint said, we'll be sending around the slide deck, the recording, the contact details, all of that stuff, and you can ask questions there as well.
So if without any questions, and if you still have them, please still share them. My last kind of call to action for you is, there must be something on your digital journey this could be used for. There must be. If you've digitalized everything, there's still got to be something. I've done applications for data moving tools to extract data and put it somewhere else. I've done applications for lots of sensors. I mean, they're a fantastic one. You don't even have to roll them out big bang, but at least try it, get some money to have a go with it and see if it's valuable or not. Telephony systems that can be used, nurse call systems. There's some really good innovations in that space recently. But yeah, there's got to be something that your care organization can digitalize with this grant. Must be.
I mean, you could, like, it includes hardware, right? So iPads, tablets for your locations, right?
Absolutely. It's a no-brainer for anyone in the world of domiciliary care or supported living. That will count as people's own homes. You're ticking that last box. Anything, Alexas, for someone to be able to get the news read to them via an Alexa, or play their music, play their favorite songs, ask for directions, ask opening times. These are all things that keep people independent in their own homes. Yeah, there's so many ways of using it.
Great. Well, I can't. Oh, you're also typing. I was about to say, have we got a question coming in? But it's you saying thank you, and I will also say thank you. Yeah, we'll get this all wrapped up and sent over to you as well with all the contact details that you need. So thanks very much for joining us, and hopefully speak and see a lot of you soon. And thank you very much, Geraint, for your time this morning.
Wonderful. Thanks, everybody. You've been, chat, you're amazing.
Bye.